Hey there, greetings everybody. Welcome to Prog Monster here on this Thursday afternoon. My name is Murph. I am the host of this show, a show dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. So, it's Thursday afternoon, which means tonight's episode is What's New. I've chosen an album that I did part of it earlier on and then decided to put it off because I wasn't able to access all of the songs because I still don't own the album, but now I've been able to access them all, and I'm getting a real like for this album, quite a bit of like. This is going to be one of my. It's probably going to make my top 10 unless something unforeseen happens. Unless we get a lot of really good albums, which is at least possible. This looks like a really good year for music. So the album that we're doing today is called Rattle the Cage. It's by a heavy metal band called the Rods, who've been around for a very lengthy time. This album was released January the 19th, 2024, so not too long ago, less than a month, or actually just over a month, on the Massacre record label, featuring as the Rods, David Rock Feinstein on guitars and lead vocals, I believe that's how you pronounce it, Freddie Villano on bass and vocals, and Carl Kennedy on drums and vocals. So it's just a three-man power trio, yes. So I've been, as you know, many of you know, I've been trying to get myself back into that metal frame of mind that I had as a younger man. And so some of these bands have really caught on with me. This is one of those bands. I like this band a lot. Probably should have made my metal last night, but I hadn't actually reviewed the album entirety, so I'm sure it will eventually make that list, maybe next year's list. So anyways, there are 10 tracks on the album. I would say this is definitely a metal album, falls well within the metal realm. A little bit of doomy metal here. There is some speed metal, thrash metal type of stuff going on here too, but overall I think of this as a kind of a classic heavy metal band. They don't sound too dissimilar to Judas Priest. There's some stuff here. They have that kind of catchy guitar riffing that Judas Priest is known for. Obviously, Judas Priest has two guitarists, so you're getting more of a bang. But his vocals don't sound at all like Rob Halford's, although he's very raspy, this guy. But one of the most outstanding characteristic of this album is that even though he's raspy and sometimes very heavy in vocals, they're always very clear. I've noticed that. The production of his voice is perfect, really clear sounding. Lots of really catchy guitar on this. Like I said before, very heavy riffing, but the riffing is catchy as hell. I gave quite a few of the songs on here 7s and high 6s, which is not something I normally do initially with a metal album, but I do like that doomy sound to it, so maybe that's part of the reason why, and his voice being so clear is good. So we're going to do a little bit of a review of the tracks. The opening track, Now and Forever. This is a heavy, fast, up-tempo riff and beat, if you prefer. Dominant guitars and drum parts to this song. Vocals, again, raspy, but very forward. You can't mistake. There's no, like, I wish that guy would speak up anything. There's none of that going on. Melodic, heavy guitar solo, which is very common for this album. His guitar solos are slow, methodic, melodic, heavy, metalish, very much so. Next track out, Wolves at the Door, another catchy metal riff here that opens it up. Crunching, beefy guitars, very slow melodic guitar solo. The vocals on this are harsh, but very clear, like among the harsher songs on the album, but also very clear, good production. The lyrics are pretty solid too. Most of the lyrics on the songs are pretty solid. It's a couple that are kind of gimpy, but overall not too bad. The next track out is probably my favorite track on the album. It's called Cry Out Loud. Very heavy, melodic, crashing guitar solos on this as well. Vocals are heavy, deep, very menacing sound to this particular track. But also very clear. And for a heavy track, they are really clear for that. So it's one of the heaviest tracks on the album. And of course, the guitar part is very melodic and slow and grinding. Yeah, overall, I just find this to be my particularly favorite track on the album. Some of the songs are out of sequence, so if I'm jumping back and forth, you'll understand why I record it. I listened to some of them, and then I went back when I got a chance to listen to the entire album and listen to the rest, and they were given to me out of sequence too. But I'm trying to keep them in sequence, and there it is. So the next track is the title track called Rattle the Cage. This is a catchy track. Really good drums, strong. Both guitars and bass are very beefy. The solo is catchy as hell as well. And the vocals, again, very raspy, but also very clear. I like this track quite a bit too. It's one of my favorites. The next tracks are all on the backside here. So you got Catch, Can't Slow Down. Another catchy, slow, melodic, grinding metal song here. Guitar part is heavy. Another good vocal part by David here. Sorry, I'm getting so caught up I'm forgetting things here. It's another clear vocal raspy part. So his voice is very raspy, but you have no problem understanding anything he says. There's no flubbing or muffling of his voice at all on this particular album. Very clear production. The next track out is Metal Highways. This is a banging, crunching riff, but a fast-paced track as well. The next track, probably the weakest track on the album, Hell or High Water. Sorry, it's got a beefy guitar riff, crashing drums. The bass is thick here. The solo is melodic and there's lots of screaming. It's another clear, raspy vocal. I for some reason, I didn't find the song as catchy as some of the other tracks on the album. So we're going to go back to the front half here. So we've got Play It Loud, which is the 8th track on the album. Drumming is exceptionally good on this particular track. The riffing of gain, heavy. The guitar riff is very heavy, dominating, as well as the bass. The lyrics a little bit more simplistic, and the solo is similar to most of the previous stuff in that it's melodic, slow, heavy. Most of the tracks are within that doomy kind of sound to their heavy metal sound to them. Number 9, Shockwave. And a decent track, very heavy drum opening, followed by some really actually killer guitar parts here. Overall the guitar solo again, of course, is slow and melodic, very kind of banging song, I think. And then we go back to the very last track on the album, Heart of Steel. So the last couple of tracks, not as strong as most of the tracks. I think maybe they maybe ran out of energy, or I ran out of energy listening to them. Probably the latter, actually. This is a bit of a fast-paced song, more of a speed metal type song, I think. You get that, especially with the bass and the drums here. They're really sped up quite a bit. And I wouldn't call this a thrash metal song, but it definitely is a sped up song for sure. The vocals, again, clear, a little bit smoother than most of his vocal tracks on this particular album. But as strange as that sound, he definitely, even though it's a smoother sound, he definitely still has some of that raspy Motorhead type thing going on as well, especially in the harder parts of the song. So overall, I find this to be a great album. It'll probably finish near the top of my albums for the year. I think it'll be in the top 10. If not, I may do a top 20 this year, because I started last year kind of midway, so I only did a 10. But this year I'm thinking of doing a top 20. It definitely will make that. It's a strong album. For a metal album, it really captured my attention. I think the strongest parts of it are that melodic guitar soloing, fantastic raspy but clear vocals, and real catchy heavy riffs. So if you like that kind of classic Sabbath riffing sound, or that those catchy metal sounding riffs that you get from Judas Priest. I think that you'll find there's enough of that here that'll interest you as well. So there you have it, the Rods and their album, the Rattle the Cage album, released on the 19th of January. We're doing that tonight, and I'm hopeful that you have enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the like and subscribe. Anything you have to make comment wise about anything on the video or about the Rods or about their album or any of that stuff, you can put that in the comment section below. Please don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you don't miss any more of this of the videos that are coming up. And we will see you again next Thursday for another album. I believe it's going to be Ace Frehley. There are 3 or 4 albums that are coming out almost simultaneously. I'm going to have to backlog some of them to get them all in. I've actually listed 8 albums for March, and I can only, of course, put 4 in, so some of them will be backlogged. But definitely I've decided to do 10,000 Volts, the new Ace Frehley album, first, because it could have went tonight, but I decided to do Rods instead. So it'll definitely be the one next week, and I hope to see you then. So take care and have yourself a good night, and goodbye. Take care.